Are you familiar with President Obama's mandate that requires religious employers to provide free access to contraception?
Yes, I am.
Do you think this is fair or unfair?
Well, I think that contraception is part of basic health care needs of all people. So I think what the Affordable Care Act is trying to do is really level the playing field and provide all people with preventive health care. And I think contraception should be a part of that.
Okay. How important is it for sexually active women to use contraceptives?
Well, I think it's very important. If you look at the basic statistics of unprotected pregnancy, if you have 100 couples and if they have unprotected sex just randomly over a year, 85 of those couples or 85% of them will have pregnancy by the end of that year. So certainly, many people have sex for the plan of procreation or to have kids, but I would say the majority of people who have sex do not have it for that intended purpose. So I think you have to provide some way for women to be involved in sex, but not necessarily get pregnant. So I think contraception is very important. I think it's the responsibility of both the female and the male engaged in the act. So I don't think it's solely the responsibility of the woman. But if you look at contraceptive options, so if you look at barrier methods versus hormonal methods, there are more impediments to some of the barrier methods. So while they shouldn't be avoided because barrier methods are the only way of protecting yourself from infections and diseases like HIV, but hormonal methods are easier to use at times and are more effective.
Um, can someone who's not sexually active still use birth control? Like, what are the other uses other than?
Absolutely. So there are many forms of contraception. There are, as I mentioned, the barrier methods and the hormonal methods primarily. There are a number of other uses of the hormonal methods. So, for instance, in my practice in gynecology, I have some young women who come in with irregular periods, which is very common when you first start having your period. We often will put them on the oral contraceptive pill to regulate their cycles. We sometimes have women who have heavy bleeding related to fibroids or heavy bleeding for other reasons, and they don't want to have surgery, and we use contraceptive methods for that as well. There have been some studies that indicate that women who are at risk for things like ovarian cancer, if they use oral contraceptive pills, may have a decreased likelihood of having ovarian cancer. And as well, there's a cancer of the lining of the uterus called endometrial cancer, and hormonal contraceptives can protect women from those kinds of cancers too. So it's mainly used for heavy bleeding and controlling people's cycles, and sometimes in prevention of cancers.
If a woman ends up getting pregnant because they don't use contraceptives, do you approve of them getting an abortion or not?
Well, that's a really hard question because I am Catholic. So, being a Catholic, I don't really support abortion. So, I would prefer to address that issue by giving people preventive methods to keep them from getting pregnant. I'm But I do believe in pro-choice, so I think you should really not have an abortion if you have any other option. But I think there are some women who feel like they don't have any other option. So I think an individual woman should have her own right to choose. So though I'm Catholic, and obviously I believe in what the Catholic Church believes, I also believe that it's someone's individual right, and I can't impose my belief on them.
Okay. I think that's
Mhm.
good.
Okay.